Hi, it's Tia Megan. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm sitting in my little kitchen nook, and we are reading So What Would She Do? And yesterday we learned about Murasaka Shikaboo, and today we're going to learn about Joan of Arc, the teenage leader. Joan of Arc believed that God wanted her to save France from the English people, so that's what she set out to do. The only problem was she wasn't a soldier. She was only a teenage girl. How could she dream of leading an army into battle? Yet astonishingly, she did just that. And even though her victories were short-lived, she proved that it was possible for women to do the seemingly impossible, as long as she believed in herself. Her name was Jeanne dArc. She was born in 1412 and died May 30th, 1431, at about age 19. She is French, and her profession ended up to be a military leader. Joan of Arc was born in the French village of Domremy as a farmer's daughter. She was also a devout Roman Catholic. She grew up during a long and bitter war between the English and the French, known as the 100 Years' War. And by the time she was a teenager, the English were winning and Henry VI was in charge. The new king of France, Charles VII, despaired of ever being crowned. This was when Joan experienced her first vision. She saw a group of saints who gave her a message from God. He wanted her to banish the English from France and put Charles VII on the throne. This was a tall order. Joan was only 13. She was a poor farm girl, and she couldn't ride a horse or fight. How could she beat the English in battle? But her visions continued, and voices spoke to her too, and they all told her the same thing: to gather an army and to fight. When she was 16, Joan gave in. It was God's will. Then she must obey. She visited Count Berdicourt, a local captain, and asked for his help. If he could take her to see Charles VII, she could tell the king of her plans. But the Count refused. So Joan went back to see him with the message that God had predicted a French defeat near Orleans. When the French were defeated in battle, the Count decided to take her to see the king after all. Joan chopped her hair into a boyish style and wore men's clothing so that she would blend in with soldiers, and off they went. Charles VII thought the very idea of a teenage girl leading his army was ridiculous. Yet, what if she was a messenger from God? Maybe she really could save France. And while the king was making up his mind, Joan learned how to ride a horse and how to fight. Amazingly, Charles VII said yes. So, in March of 1429, Joan rode to Orleans, bearing a flag, and she led the French into battle and to victory. 4 months later, Charles VII was crowned the king. Joan's winning streak lasted until 1430, when she was captured by the English and put on trial. She was charged with many crimes, including witchcraft, dressing in men's clothing, and lying about the voices she heard. She was burned at the stake on May 30th, 1431, at only 19 years old. Charles VII never came to her defense. 20 years after her death, a retrial declared Joan of Arc innocent, and in 1920, Pope Benedict XV made her a saint. She is now the patron saint of France. Here's our question: what would Joan do? The question is, The thought of speaking in front of a class fills you with horror. The teacher says you've got to do it, but you can't. You just can't. What would Joan of Arc do? Answer: Joan of Arc was just 13 when she spoke in front of entire armies. But she did it. And in your situation, Joan would make sure that she knew her subject matter inside and out and back and front. She'd practice in front of a mirror or an audience of old toys. And she'd remember that her classmates were really on her side and really wanted her to do well. Then she'd take a deep breath and go out fighting. The quote is, "I am not afraid. I was born to do this." Joan of Arc, 1429. Wow, what a tragic life. To be burned at the stake at only age 19. My goodness. She must have really loved her country and wanted to help, huh? So, there's no school tomorrow, but I'm still going to post another lesson about women's history because there's so many women to celebrate. We wouldn't have, a month doesn't even give us the time to get a little of it done. But tomorrow we'll be talking about Alina Piscopia, the super student. All right, I hope you like learning just a little bit about Joan of Arc. I'm sure there's way more in-depth coverage on that wonderful woman. But I will see you tomorrow with another lesson for Women's History Month. Bye-bye.